Right, while I make a coffee, you watch this. Sick bags to the ready.
Like an island of calm in dark, stormy seas, God's people are living in peace. With our eyes of faith, we see beyond the clouds and know that the storm soon will cease. It's the ends of the earth, there'll be peace at last for all eternity. From the valleys below to the mountain tops, all creation will speak peace at last. When the new world is here, all will be one, on earth and in heaven above. And the peace we'll know we've never known before, a world ruled by justice and love. To the ends of the earth there'll be peace at last for all eternity. From the valleys below to the mountain tops, all creation will see peace at last. To the ends of the earth there'll be peace at last for all eternity. From the valleys below to the mountain tops, all creation will sing. To the ends of the earth there'll be peace at last for all eternity. From the valleys below to the mountain tops, all creation will see peace at last. Peace at
Wowee. Wow, wow, wowee. Yahweh. Unbelievable. I've only just seen this because there's a guy called Wally. I think he does JW Thoughts, and it just came up for some reason. I put up the last video, and it came up as video to watch next, and it says, like, I can't remember what the title was, and he put up a few days ago, and he sort of put up that video, but he sort of broke it up speaking, and I thought, nah, this can't be right. So I went into JW.org again. It's my second foray into the Watchtower stuff. I'll put the link in the description, and there it was, the whole horrible video. Wow, what can you say about that? Back in the good old days, when I was a witness, all you had was like some shitty artist impression of what the paradise was going to be like. But now we are full on-blown Hollywood production, you know, emotional music, the whole works, chorus, you know, it's just, it's stunning. It's stunning how manipulative it is. I'm actually wondering, to be honest with you, if I was at the convention and that came on the screens, would I actually be thinking, wow, this is, would I be actually embracing and going, yeah, can't wait? Or would I actually thinking, oh, this has just gone too far, this is, you know, this is, this stinks of, you know, like other, you know, big, mega money driving religious companies are, where they just, you know, they're just building this sort of image, and that it's all tugging at the heartstrings. Would I see through it? Would I see through it? I don't know. I'm hoping I would if I was still there. But what can I say? The interesting bits, I'm not going to go through it again stage by stage, but the interesting thing was again, you get all these people. Obviously, I think there must have been people who were involved in other. There must have been the guys in there. A few there must have been from other dramas through the convention. But I'm not bothering to even go down there and even watch these dramas, because I'm not interested. I've got painting to do, for Christ's sake, and so obviously they must have come in. But you know, some of the things which I found really disturbing was like, you get those that young, and it's a young group of people that just like walking out wearing coats and everything else away from the city, and the city's on fire, and you can see lightning come down. Obviously it's a city that's been, obviously they've come from the city which has been destroyed by Jeffrey Jackson and all the rest of the crew, and Jesus, lovely Jesus, and the angels, and they've destroyed every single person in the city, and they've come out. But luckily, praise the Lord, they come out and manage to wear clothes that are going to sustain them, because of course there's no shelter now, because obviously they've just literally left a city with the clothes that they wear. But luckily they're all kitted out. They've all got really nice suits on, or you know stuff to wear outside. Fantastico. So they are leaving the city, which is on fire. They're all brimming with smiles, and yet in reality, why are they all brimming with smiles? They've probably just lost at that instant everybody they've ever loved, which I've said before. Everybody they've ever loved who wasn't a baptized Jehovah's Witness has just at this point died. Maybe standing next to them. Maybe they've had to move their corpse out of the way to try and get through the door. You know, maybe they've passed, you know, the nice family next door, the Asian family next door, or the Muslim family to the side. You know, just literally just charred remains of, you know, the dog, the cat, the gerbil, the hamster, babies, children, the mum and the dad, and the grandfather and the grandmother. And next thing, they also pass the old granddad's house and just see, you know, their granddad burning to death inside the front window because he's still a Catholic. You know, it's just bizarre. Why don't they actually show the true horror of what really is going to go down at Armageddon, which all these millions of Jehovah's Witnesses believe? Why don't they show the true horror of Armageddon? Of those, 7 billion people are going to be dead around them. Why don't they show the true horror of that? Why is this thing that we've just come out of this with just the clothes on our back, but we're all impeccably dressed, to then try and bizarrely forge some sort of existence in the country? You know, you see them like, what are they doing with those bricks? You know, I'm not sure what they're doing with those bricks. Where did they get the shovels from? You know, at this point, there's no electricity, there's probably no running water, there's nothing. How are they going to... It's as though when none of them came out wearing, you know, like a big, you know, like coming out with like duffel bags or haversacks or you know, suitcases full of, you know, food to keep them going. You know, if I was sort of walked out from here, the only thing that could sustain me at the moment is, I think, some blackberries. And that's not going to last me long. You know, if all of a sudden I left any sort of civilization, what the fuck would I eat? But these guys en masse have left a city where everything's there, and all of a sudden there's nothing left. You know, can you imagine, you know, all of a sudden no electricity, so all frozen food is fucked. Everything's fucked. There's a whole load of decaying bodies, so you wouldn't go near anything. You know, the nice person used to smile at you in the morning in your local food shop. Of course, their rotting corpse is over the counter. You know, we've probably still got the thing to be in their hand. You know what I mean? This is reality. Yet they don't show that. Instead, they show this bizarre sanitised version of Armageddon, where all these smiling guys come out as though, yes, they've been saved, where feel no sorrow for all the people that they've literally just walked past who've died. They've gone into the middle of nowhere, you know, with no provisions at all, And the next thing is we're cracking on that we're seeing a guy with plans to build his house. And you can see that the framework going up. He's already got his plans. That's going to be my paradise house, and it's a big, huge dock, a big fuck off mansion, and he's got the whole thing there. The only what you see at this point is an elephant. Apparently, an elephant is going to help him because, of course, at this point, there's no cars, there's no diesel, there's no petrol, there's nothing that machinery would work. So how in the world did he cut down the trees? How did he shape all the timber frames? How did he put them in the ground for the supports? Where did the cement come from? And that's before we crack on where we see his finished houses. Where the fuck did all that glass come from? Where did the glass come from which has got put in his windows? Where did that come from? Where did all the clothes that all these, you know, I'm told the old people who survived Armageddon, apparently no old people survived Armageddon. They obviously died, obviously, and still in the city. Like, all the people that came out were young people. There's no children, no old people. In fact, we didn't see any old people at all in that thing at all. Apparently this is just post-Armageddon, and everybody's instantly changed to being like 23 or 33. There's no children, bizarre. And then you see at one point, when the guy's like this and he's writing down notes, where did he get his pen from? Where did the pen come from? If you look carefully on the table, there's a monkey. There's a monkey there. At least the monkey survived. At least the monkey, and there was provisions of fruit for the monkey and everybody else, because of course at this point nobody's eating any animals. And you actually do see in the background behind the monkey somebody holding a child. So praise the Lord that there will be some children. Down on the bottom, you actually see ships of people coming into this area, because after Armageddon, of course, there's no mechanical machinery or nothing. So of course the ships are all on sails. You know, it's wee little ships with sails, because that's the only means of transportation that anybody's got, apart from riding a horse, obviously. So if you want to cross from one side of the world to the other, you've got to go in this dodgy wee boat with sails. If you just want to go up the coast a bit, you've got to go in your wee boat, because you haven't got a propeller, because propeller needs fuel, and of course there isn't any fuel, so of course everything's gone back to basics. Another interesting point is, of course, is that because there is no Wi-Fi, there is no Wi-Fi anymore. Wi-Fi is gone. There's no more Wi-Fi. So how would you contact your friend in Australia, or your mum and dad Australia, and say, did you survive Armageddon? You know, maybe just waiting for the boat to turn up and manage to cross the Pacific, or where it is the Pacific and the Atlantic, to finally turn up to say, oh, hurrah, you actually made it. Or to find out, actually, oh, sorry, son, but, sorry, your dad died at Armageddon. Shit! So, you know, it's just bizarre. So, you see, there's all the problematics of how did they build a house where they've got nothing? And there's this bit where there's obviously a guy who's been resurrected wearing the same clothes he wore 4,000 years ago, and it's Daniel, and he's seen, you know, that maybe was it Daniel saw that dream of the statue and the Medes and the Persians, blah blah blah. I'm sure it was. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm talking shit. So basically, there's an old guy from the Bible. And bizarrely, they are actually reading the Bible. They're probably just trying to explain, yeah, by the way, this is finally down this bottom bit during the feast, that's when that happened, blah, blah, blah. You know, the British and American, the Anglo-American world power. Do they still believe that anymore? I don't really know. But he's getting taught that. He's saying, oh, thank you very much. And he's got a Bible in his hand. Wow, a Bible. And when you go out to see the Jehovah's Witnesses these days, they don't have Bibles in their hand. If you see them at the Kingdom Halls, they don't have Bibles in their hand. Why not? Because they're all on the tablets. But of course, in the new system, we've got rid of technology, so all that's been thrown out. Mobile phones has gone, tablets are gone, PCs are gone, there's no printing or anything else, it's all gone. So we've all gone back to, oh shit, I hope I've still got my Bible. I hope there's a few Bibles that we've got to now study with the unrighteous and the righteous. There are literally billions of people are going to come back in the resurrection. And it's just extraordinary. It's just like, it's a fantasy. Even at the ends, where the woman decides she doesn't want to sleep in a big Docker mansion where there's like glass everywhere, and they've got the glass with candles because there's no electricity. There's all these glass bits. Where did the glass come from? Where did the glass come from? Where did the candles come from that are inside the wee glass things to make the evening perfect? You know, how did people get there? Where did they get the belts from to hold up the trousers? Right at the end, there's a woman at the end, and it's just bizarrely, I think she might have been suffering from some sort of, early in the convention, some sort of bad diagnosis, maybe she's dying, I don't really know, I don't really care, but she's decided to forego the big mansion, and she's just lying under a tree, and above her is a panther. We've just gone completely into the realms of the Lion King or whatever, or oh no, the Lion King, they're still eating people. No, it's clearly Disney, it's Bagheera. And it's obviously Bagheera is on top of this big tree, and because we're in the paradise, he's now got, all the animals have been rewired, and of course he's deciding not to eat her. Oh my God, and to think I believed in that bullshit, and I never ever really thought about the bodies after Armageddon. Of course, Wi-Fi didn't exist when I was with us. I never thought about the lack of electricity, the lack of fuel, how we're going to build our houses, how we're going to get from A to B, where's the food going to come from, how we're going to bury 7 billion dead bodies. You never thought about that because you just buy into this picture of a paradise where everybody's young and fantastic and eating bananas, you know, wearing checks shirts or whatever. But now we get the full-blown Hollywood production by Jehovah's Witnesses, and you watch that and you just realise how utterly delusional that I was at the time, and how utterly delusional anybody watching that who's got half a sense of logic and common sense must be thinking to themselves, hold on a second. There's a lot of this doesn't make any sense. I'm staggered. Oh my God. I really am. I'm absolutely staggered. It's just, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say anymore. I just, the more I see of what the Witnesses are all about now, the more I get more disillusioned with the whole bunch, to think that my mum's still in it, my brother's in it, and really close friends I had in the Witnesses are still in it. And I just like to think what they were thinking when they were watching that. Were they asking those questions themselves? You know, did they think to themselves, you know, this doesn't make any sense. This is completely, utterly made up bollocks. And the reality is that, you know, if there was, this did happen, it'd be probably something like, you know, something like in The Walking Dead. You know, with probably more bodies, you know, just like people actually breaking into, you know, into like shops to hopefully open up a can of beans, you know, or whatever it is. That's probably the reality. Literally, you know, gone back to basics, living in caves or whatever. I don't know. I'm staggered. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about that. You know, dear me. You can tell them. You can tell here. I've gone depressed watching that, because it's just the thought that I believe that. How did I believe in that? I'm hoping, to be honest with you, going back to how I started this off, that if I saw that at the convention, that maybe I'd see that and say, you know what, this is fantasy. This is fantasy. And hopefully I recognise that. But I don't know. For the Witnesses who still go, clearly it isn't fantasy for them. Clearly it is reality. But you've got to watch that video and just ask yourselves, what the fuck? Anyway, see you later. I've got to do second coat of Adore. The Doors. Now there's a good band. Come and Baby Light My Fire. But best of all, when the music's over, turn out the lights. Bye bye.